Hi, and welcome to my video on solving equations with rational exponents, but this is extra, the backup to the previous video. Solve each. Let's do some examples. X to the half equals 4. So one way to do this would be to raise it to the reciprocal power. The exponential is already isolated. So reciprocal of a half is 2. So 4 squared. So they cancel out. So x equals 16. So that's one way. 16 is an answer. And if I want to check it, then put x equals 16 back in the equation. X squared equals 4. 16, oops, make it a 16 correctly. 16 to the half equals 4. And a half is a square root, so the square root of 16 is 4. So 16 is an answer. But another way to think about this is to change x to the 1/2 equals 4. Think about it as square root. A half is a square root, so that's a 2. X to the 1, so that's a 2 understood, and that's a 1. And if we have a square root, then what we're doing is squaring both sides to eliminate the square root, because the square root of x squared is just x. So to raise it to 2 power, or to simplify, think about it as a square root, we're squaring both sides. B, we have a square again, so one way, we'll raise it to a square power, square both sides, and the exponents are reciprocals of each other, so they cancel. So x minus 3 equals 5 squared is 25. So x equals 25 plus 3. X equals 28. And if we check that, x equals 28. So the equation is x minus 3 to the half equals 5. We sub in a 28. 28 minus 3 is 25 to the half. And again, two choices. We can go 5 squared to the half equals 5. The 2's cancel. And I get 5 to the 1 equals 5. So 5 equals 5. Or I can say the half is square root. So square root of 25. The square root of 25 is 5. So either or, 16 is the answer. And 1/3 is cube root. So we think about it. Reciprocal power is a 3. So reciprocal power is 3. We cube both sides. It's already isolated. They cancel. So x equals negative 2 cubed is negative times negative times negative is a negative. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And be cubing a negative number, that's an odd power, so we're guaranteed to have a negative. And again, x equals negative 8. And also, if you think about it as another way, 1/3 is the cube root of x. So 1/3 is a 3 is the index or the root and 1 power. And to eliminate a cube root, we cube. So the cube root of x all cubed is just x. And negative 2 cubed is negative 8. And we just want to check x equals negative 8. So x to the 1/3 equals negative 2. X is negative 8. We put a negative 8 in the place of x. And to see the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. So it's negative 8 is the answer. But I just wanted to show, this is why I did it extra here, I just wanted to show you that 1/3 is a cube root. And if you have a cube root, you cube both sides to eliminate it, or you raise it to the 3rd power, which is cubing it. And again, we have a cube root, so we raise it to the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3, so we raise to the 3rd power, they cancel, so x plus 1 equals 3 cubed. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So 27 minus 1 is 26. And again, remind you that 1/3 is the cube root. So if we change a 1/3 to a cube root, that's cube root of x plus 1, then we raise it to the third. To eliminate a cube root, we cube. So the cube root of x plus 1 cubed is x plus 1. And we get the same answer, but I just wanted to show you that 1/3 is a cube root. And if we want to check that everything is okay, so we have x plus 1 to the 1/3 equals 3. And x is 26, so 26 plus 1 to the 26 plus 1 raised to the 1/3 power. 27 to the 1/3 power equals 3. And that's, again, cube root of 27. 1/3, that's a 3, that's a 1 understood. Cube root of 27 is 3. And so 26 is the correct answer. Again, just extras, just trying to make sure you understand. Now we're going to solve and check each of these. And we're going to practice. Let's see. Practice means pause the video and see if you can work each of these out. So we have a half. So that's also the square root of x equals 3. So you can have a half, or you could have had the square root of x. But if you have a half, you square both sides. Reciprocal power, they cancel to give us a 1. It gives us 36. And x equals 36 is the answer. So x to the half equals 6. So x is 36. And we can go square root of 36 or 6 squared, whatever way you want. You could go square root of 36 equals 6. 6 equals 6 to be okay. Or you could go 36 is 6 squared to the half equals 6. 2's cancel. 6 to the 1 equals 6. 6 equals 6. So it's your choice to do square root of 36 to get 6, or raise the 36 to the square power and cancel. Either or. Number 2, again, don't forget to pause the video and work these out beforehand to see if you know what you're doing. And this is a 1/3 power, so we'll cube. And we'll cube. So we cube, they cancel out, so I get 2x minus 1 equals negative 3 cubed is a negative 27. So 2x equals negative 27 plus 1. 2x is negative 26. Divide by 2. X equals negative 13. And we check x equals negative 13 to see if we're okay. So 2x minus 1 to the 1/3 power equals negative 3. X is negative 13. So PEMDAS says we have to work the inside of this bracket before we can work the power. So that's a negative 26 minus 1. We multiply first. We subtract after to get to 27 negative. And that's a cube root. So that's the cube root of negative 27. And negative 3 equals negative 3. And negative 13 is the solution. And we have a square root. Remember, square root of x plus 4 equals 1. That's the square root is the same as x plus, sorry, I said x plus 1. The square root of x plus 4 equals 1. So x plus 4 to the half power is 1. So you don't have to change it, but I'm just illustrating that that square root is raised to a half power. So to eliminate the square root, we square both sides, which we would here. So the square root of x plus 4 squared is x plus 4. 1 squared is 1. So x is 1 minus 4. So x is a negative 3. And we check x equals negative 3 into the equation. Make sure. And we're subbing in a negative 3. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1 equals 1. So negative 3 is the solution. And number 4, we have to isolate the root. We divide by, remember, this is also, just a reminder, that's x minus 2 to the 1/3 power. So notice cube root is 1/3 power. But if you let the root stay there, it's okay. You divide by 8. So the cube root of x minus 2 equals 2. Because that's a cube root, we cube. Remember, because it's a 1/3, we would raise it to the 3rd power to make it a 1 exponent. So that's x minus 2 equals 2 cubed is 8. 8 plus 2, x equals 10. And x equals 10 is the solution. Let's check. 8 cube root of x minus 2 equals 16. So x is 10, sub 10 in. Work out the root underneath the root first, which is 8. And we have to do the cube root first. Cube root of 8 is 2. And 16 equals 16, true, so 10 is the answer to this equation with a cube root. And some more to do. Okay. The 4th root of x squared minus 1 equals 2. Again, that's a 4th root. So a 4th root, to get rid of a 4th root, we get the 4th power. Remember, that's also the same as x squared minus 1 to the 1/4. So the 4th root is the same as having a 1/4. So if you change that to this, if you change this equation here to this one, you would do the 4th power. So without changing it, I can just do the 4th root to the 4th power. It cancels out, and I get an x minus 1. And 2 to the 4 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So x squared is 16 plus 1. X squared is 17. And the square root of x squared is plus or minus the square root of 17. Square root of x squared is x, plus or minus the root of 17. So there's 2 answers. So what about x equals root 17? And we're going to check x equals negative root 17. Here we go. We got the 4th root of x squared minus 1 equals 2. And we sub in. X is the root of 17. And the square root of 17 squared is just 17. 17 minus 1 is 16. 4th root of 16, or we could, 16 is 2 to the 4. And that's 2 to the 4 over 4. I'm just 2 to the 1. Or you could have went and said the 4th root of 16 is just 2 right away. But I just wrote 16 is 2 to the 4. 4 over 4, changing the radical to an exponential, you get the 1. And we do the same equation again. We're checking for negative root 17. So the 4th root of negative root 17 squared minus 1. 4th root. So negative square root of 17. Negative times negative positive. Root 17 times root 17 is 17. The 4th root. 17 minus 1 is 16. Again, the 4th root of 16 is 2. So there's 2 answers to this equation. And number 6, we have a square root. Don't forget to pause the video and work it out beforehand to see if you understand what you're doing. And as a square root, to eliminate a square root, we square both sides. Again, to think about it as the x squared minus x plus 9 to the 1/2 power. So notice that square root is 1/2 power, so we would square both sides. So that's x squared minus x plus 9 equals 9. That means that x squared minus x plus 9, I could cancel them out right away and get a 0 here, but if I do it this way, then I get x squared minus x equals 0. So if I cancel here, I have to put a 0 here. Don't forget. But if you bring your 9 over, like I did here, then 9 minus 9 is 0. So there, I didn't put that 0 in. Now I got a quadratic. X is the GCF. Take x out. X squared divided by x is x. X divided by x is 1. So I get x equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. So x is 0 or x is 1. So let's check when x is 0. And we write down the equation. And we're going to check when x is 0. So we're going to sub 0 in. So we sub 0 in for x. That's a 0. That's a 0. So that's a 0 minus 0 plus 9 equals 3. Square root of 9 equals 3. Square root of 9 is 3. True. Now we're going to check when x is, check x is 0. Now we're going to check when x is 1. So it's the square root of x squared minus x plus 9 equals 3 is the equation. Notice I wrote the initial equation down. There it is. Now I'll put the 1 in. And because I put the 1 in, I'm going to make sure I put brackets around, subbing the 1 in to make sure I don't make an error. So 1 squared is 1. The negative of 1 is negative 1. And that's 0 plus 9. That's the square root of 9. It's 3. Square root of 9 is 3. True. So there's two answers. So the solution is 0 or negative 1. There's two of them because they're quadratic on the inside of the root. And we have some more. Again, I said I was going to do extra problems just to drive home to make sure you understand. And don't forget to pause the video. So now I have a square root, so I can change that because I can change that to x minus 2 is, that's a square root and that's a cube, so that's the x minus 2 raised to the 3 over 2 power. So I'll make that 2 over 3 and make this side 2 over 3. Reciprocal power, the 3's cancel. So I get x minus 2 equals the cube root of 8. No, and then I'll square it. Cube root, the cube root, I better be careful. That's the cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So 6 is the answer. And let's check x equals 6 in the equation to see if we're right. Now notice the exponent right here is a 3. That's okay because we just get one answer, but it's that power right here. Was it 2, 4, 6? Then we're going to get many more answers. So let's check 6 in the equation. X minus 2 cubed equals 8. We're going to put 6 in. And we do the brackets first to get a 4. And we get 4 cubed. I could, there's two ways to do this. I'll do it one way. I could go 4 cubed is 64. And I get square root of 64 is an 8. I say we're okay. Or I could have did this. That's the square root. 4 is 2 squared. All cubed. Notice the 4 is 2 squared. So that's 2 to the 6th. And so that's 2 to the 6th over square root. That's a 2 there, which gives us 3, which gives me an 8. So here I think about it. Let's go back again. If I cube it, I get 64, and square root of 64 is an 8. But if I change my 4 to a 2 squared, this is a power of a power, so I multiply. Now I have a square root, so that's a 2 there. So I take the 6 divided by 2 to get the 3. So I get an 8. Either way, whatever way you want to do it. So 6 is the answer. And number 8, I have to isolate the root. So let's take our time. And don't forget, pause the video and work your problem out. And we have a 3 plus 2. So I moved the 2 over to the right side and made a plus. That gives us 5. Now I have to isolate the root, so I divide both sides by 5. 5's cancel, I get a 1. Oh, that's the cube root of x minus 4 squared. And that's a 1. So this is an x minus 4 raised to the 2 over 3. So notice you're squaring this. Because you're squaring, there's 2 possible numbers that can be in here to work with this problem. So in that case, because the numerator is an even power, I'm going to cube this first. 3's cancel, so I get x minus 4 squared. 1 cubed is 1. So that means I'll do the square root of x minus 4 squared plus or minus the root of 1. I'll do the square root of both sides. X minus 4 is plus or minus 1. Square root of x minus 4 squared is x minus 4. We practiced this in solving square root radical equations in a previous unit. So everything that you learn in earlier topics comes back. You keep repeating them, so it's important to know what you learned earlier. So x equals 4 plus or minus 1. So x equals 4 plus 1 or 4 minus 1. So x is equal to 5 or 3. So let's check x equals 5. Put it into the equation. Take your time. Now we're putting 5 in the equation. 5 is one of the answers. So I sub 5 in. So we have to work inside the root first, inside the brackets. And that's a 1. And to keep going, we have the cube, square root of 1. Notice I do them one step at a time. The cube root of 1 is 1. Multiply. Perfect. X equals 5 is a root. Now, we can go with x equals x equals 3. We're looking, don't know where we're looking then. I got 5 and 3. We're going to check 3. 5 cube root of, I'm writing down the equation first, and then I'm going to sub into the equation. Cube root, x is 3. root. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. Cube root of 1 is 1. Five times 1 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 equals 3. So there's two solutions to this equation, 5 or 3. And that's a review of solving equations with rational exponents. And again, be very cognizant of this power. If this exponent here is an even number, then you're going to get more than one answer. Because as a square, notice what's happening. The 1 squared gives you 1, or the negative 1 squared gives you 1. So these two numbers will make this equation true. That ends this video, and if you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe button, the notification bell. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.